Yo, what's up, friends? It's your boy, Trader Main. I'm here with another episode of the Order Book. It's Wednesday. I know I normally go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I was at the World Cup game in Vancouver yesterday. If you saw on my Twitter there, I posted Kraken sent your boy to the game. It was super fun. It was Colombia versus Switzerland. Unfortunately, no goals. Literally 90 minutes plus 30 minutes extra time. Had to be settled 0-0 in penalties, but was a ton of fun. Really enjoyed myself. What an atmosphere. It was basically like a home game for Colombia, I think, because there was so many Colombian fans. It was insane in Vancouver. But I didn't stream yesterday for that reason, so I want to get one out for you today. So we got a lot going on, okay? We've got MicroStrategy selling a decent chunk of Bitcoin to discuss. We have Robinhood re-entering the arena in crypto with some big announcements, new meme coins coming out, right? We have the Iran war ending again and then starting again and then ending again and then starting again. And at this point, I've lost count, but I believe the war is back on and the ceasefire is over, according to the latest updates. We'll see how long this one lasts, but lots of stuff to discuss. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as always, we're going to be looking at some charts. I got my man Cody in the chat. So if you have any chart requests, he'll take a handful. We'll try and get through a few. I know people want me to look at Ansem Coin. They want me to look at Cashcat, which I believe is like the new Robinhood coin. So we will look at those. We'll talk about those. But yeah, let's get into it. As always, we're going to start with Bitcoin. Boring old Bitcoin, but that's where we're going to start. And then from there, we'll work our way down to some of this other stuff. So let's get into it. So as always, I'm over here on Kraken Pro. We're looking at Bitcoin here. And we're still within this range, right? Like we're still trading within this kind of tiny little range here from, I don't know, 58 to 67. Like that's really our current trading range that we're kind of just oscillating in. And then we're also kind of within this trading range as well, you could argue, right? Like this low to this high, and we're attempting to, reclaim the range lows here, maybe move up to kind of the mid-range. We'll see. But for now, we're going to just focus on the shorter term price action because high time frame, I sound like a broken record, but nothing has changed at this point. Nothing has changed at this point. We just made a new down leg on the weekly. So like at best, we're going to get some sort of rally here. And then I think lower high. Well, at best, straight line all-time high, as always. But I think a rally into a lower high is the more likely scenario. If we even rally up this high, we might not. If you look at how these last couple ranges have resolved here, we haven't really gotten a big push, right? So from here to here, we didn't even come close to the mid-range, right? From here to here, we came just above the mid-range. So from here to here, I don't know. How high will this bounce go? Is it already over? I have no fucking idea. But the high time frame is still bearish, still in a downtrend. That being said, as the days go on, we're inching closer and closer to that kind of Q4 where I believe the bottom gets put in. So that's coming up soon. We're in July. We're already almost a third of the way through July. So I still believe that we are going to have a bottom form in Q4. And it's just whether or not, like, is this the bottoming range that we're in? Right? So be it. That's totally plausible. Or, are we going to get another move, down and then form our bottoming range down here? I don't know yet, right? I still think that there's pretty high odds that we see below this low and 50K, but I'm not going to hold my breath just like I didn't back here and say, well, we have to go to 10K or I'm not buying. I've told you guys a million times at this point, but I think 40 to 60K Bitcoin, right? 40 to 60K Bitcoin, which lines up right with the kind of optimal trade entry area. What's the optimal trade entry, Trader Main? Go watch the video. Go watch my video on it. But I do think this range is a deep discount and value for Bitcoin. So in terms of accumulating spot, I think, 40 to 60K, I'm just rounding these numbers up, is good value for Bitcoin long term, because I think we'll see new all-time highs on Bitcoin. I think we're going to see, 150, maybe 160K or more at this next all-time high run. So if I'm able to get in between 40 and 60K and triple my money on some of these spot buys, maybe even more, I'm going to be very happy with that. And if we go even lower, I'll look to buy more, right? If we get into the 30Ks, I will look to buy more. But again, I believe this is an area of deep value, and I still think that we are adhering to the 4-year cycle until proven otherwise. So short term on Bitcoin, pretty straightforward here. We had a nice trade setup that we took on the long side here, right? We had the H12 sweep, and we took this long here, right? So we took the long from here to here. Now we have a weekly SFP, and we have a 12-hour breaker, which is right here. So if you remember where I ended last stream, I'd basically drawn something like this playing out, a pullback into here and then go. We kind of got a pullback with this little wick here, and then it pushed right up again. Now I'm not so sure. Oh no, what did I do? I hope I didn't do anything. Now I'm not so sure if it gets there. But I would love to see us come into here, and then I would look for a setup in here. So in terms of longing Bitcoin, if we can come and retest this H12 breaker, give us a nice little trigger, a nice little setup here, I think that will be kind of the next trade that I'm looking for. I'm not short. I do think this PA is a little bit messy. It's a little bit grindy. So I would like to, I hate like a move like this where you have this big wick, but then it doesn't actually have any follow through to the upside, and we retrace the full wick. So I do think coming into here is my next setup that I'd be interested in taking if we're going to continue to see upside. Generally, after we have weekly SFPs, we get big moves on Bitcoin. I've gone over this a few times. It's like something like 80+% of the time we got a weekly SFP, we got, a 10% move in the other direction. Well, there already has been a 10% move basically with this candle. So you got to keep in mind that, this could have been this SFP playing out already, right? Like that could already be playing out here. We took out that prior week's low. So I don't love it as much because we kind of already had this pump, but I'm willing to take a stab here if we get it. So if we get a bit more of a pullback, I'm willing to take a stab here and see if the bulls can pump this thing a little longer. But ultimately, I still think this probably goes lower. I don't believe this is the bottom yet. This doesn't look like bottoming price action to me. Anything can happen. I could be wrong. A lot of people are seemingly quite bullish on crypto right now and think the bottom's in, and, on-chain is humming again. And while those things may be true, we've gone up a little bit. Like we're still, $3,000-$4,000 off the low. Like we haven't really gone that much. We're less than 10% off the low for Bitcoin. Some altcoins have moved up. Obviously, you had Ansem, and that went up like crazy. It's experiencing its first little pullback. But overall, right? Overall, we haven't gone that far. Like we haven't moved up that much. So it's just a matter of waiting and seeing what's going to happen here. I'm not rushing into this, but concurrently with not rushing into, hey, this is the bottom, I am accumulating spot. Like as we dip below 60. And if we do dip lower, I will continue to buy spot and then ultimately unload the rest of the clip once we get that weekly structure break, exactly like we did down here. So you're buying, right? Weekly structure break, unload the remainder clip. Okay. So plan still remains the same. That's the area I'm looking for at Bitcoin. If we are able to get back above, I don't know. If we're able to get back above here, like these highs, because we're kind of in a resistance here. Like a little bit. Like you could argue this is kind of like a little level in here. Right? Bang, deviated, back below, bang. Right? If we're able to get above 65-ish, I think maybe we can then go up. But for now, I'm just going to chill. If we get a long down here, I'll be interested in taking it. Otherwise, I'm not going to rush into anything. I've been like a sniper so far this year when it comes to trades. Very selective with the shots I'm taking, but a very high hit rate with the ones we are taking. We took a long last week, paid, and we had the Solana trade idea as well that we shared. Can't ask for much more than that. Long Solana near the low, long Bitcoin near the low. What else do you want? I'm not a meme coin guy, right? So I'm not in Ansem. I'm not in Cashcat. Doesn't mean you can't make money in those things. That's just not my game. I know what my game is, right? So that is that's kind of my quick thoughts on Bitcoin here. So we'll move on here. What's up from Luton? Isn't that where Andrew Tate lives? Hate from VA, hate from BC, brother. Salama alaikum from the North Sentinel Island. Are you one of those uncontacted tribesmen? What's up, dude? Good. I'm glad you're enjoying the whiteboard series. What's up, 829 ETH? Hidden hills, but I wish I was hidden in your hills. Stop. I'm married, dude. You can't hit on me like this in public. How was the football game? It was the boring game. It was a pretty boring game. I'm not going to lie. Like it's exciting being there because anytime there's a corner kick, a free kick, like there's a bit of frenetic energy, like, and the penalty kicks definitely have some drama and some excitement, but it was boring in that there was no goals. I mean, how about the Argentina-Egypt game, dude? First of all, I don't understand the VAR system. Like, can they just do unlimited VAR? Like, they ran all the way down the field, scored, and they're like, hold on, we're bringing it all back, disallowing the goal. Then they went and scored again, but then Messi doing what Messi does. They got in the game with a goal. Messi scored the tying goal, and then they went up. What a game. What's up, my brother? Culo Grande, Maine. What's up, homie? Are there any trade setups worth going all in on? I have no idea, bro. Uni is on the Dog Boys watch list. We'll take a look. Hello, Maine brother. Tell us about your strategy. What is your suggestion on daily, 4 hour, and 1 hour? Have you looked at the whiteboard series, perhaps? This video series goes through all of those things, right down to entering trades on the 5-minute chart. Okay, you can enter trades on the 5-minute chart, bro. 5-minute entries, okay? So go watch that. It's top-down analysis, market structure, all that good stuff. Order book to 1 million followers. Yes, please. Let's go. LFNT. I'm the only stream you watched from 2017. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Polka Trades. Hey, Maine, I'll be testing your model from the whiteboard series until the end of the year. My only question is, do you really need the 5-minute entry? I know you almost never enter on the H1, under the H1. So the H1 is actually the setup, right? Like, you're looking for that H1 order block, breaker, fair value gap, right? But what I showed you with the 5-minute chart is, let's say this is your H1 order block, where you might normally just enter here and put your stop here. All the 5-minute model shows you is that within here, you could find a 5-minute market structure shift in the direction of the high time frame price action. and get a really dialed in low time frame entry that's going to be confluent with all of the higher time frames. But you don't have to go to the 5-minute. You can use the H1. You can stop right there and say, okay, I've done my daily analysis, right? My weekly, my 4-hour. We're now at H1 demand in the discount at the OTE. You can just enter on the H1 order block, or you can zoom into the lower time frame and actually, get in on the 5-minute, the 15-minute, if you want to have a trade that is, synced up with all those higher time frames. Okay. If you had to trade with indicators, which one would you use? I don't really know, bro. Volume, I guess, because that's the only thing that isn't price is volume. I think moving averages, even though they're really simple, work really well. So yeah, probably those. Good afternoon, Love Stonks. How you doing, bro? All right, let's get into ETH here real quick. Not much going on here. Like, I think the question we have to ask with ETH, right, is it's back in this accumulation zone. Like, this is exactly where it accumulated last bear market before it's run to a new all-time high, even though it's, very marginal. Came all the way back. Now we're back in this zone now, and it's like, is this enough? Do we just bottom here again? Right? Do we just bottom here again? Or is there, an argument to be made that there's going to be one more leg to the downside on ETH, and we're going to get that one more push down, and it's going to take out the last bear market's lows? I don't know. So we'll wait and see. I think that similar to Bitcoin, is $2,000 ETH decent value? Sorta, but I definitely think like 1,000 to 1,500, where we've just tagged and pushed up a little bit. I definitely think this is value. Relative to this, right? It's definitely value. So I do think that there's value here on ETH. But if we get a larger correction on Bitcoin and we get one more leg lower on Bitcoin, I would look for ETH to take out this low and potentially here. But again, like $1,000 to $1,500 ETH, I think it's pretty cheap, all things considered. If it goes below 1,000, I think that that's very cheap. Now, do I know what's going to happen with ETH next cycle? No. Do I think ETH is going to, do something crazy and go to 20,000 like Credible Crypto is saying? I have no idea. Like, I don't know. He seems to be quite bullish on ETH. He's looking at this as kind of like a more macro, high time frame, large accumulation. Maybe that's the case. But for me and where I'm at with my trading, like, I don't need to wonder if ETH is going to 20,000 if I can buy it. Like, I think where you exit is, like, how high the coin is going to go is obviously important, and your exit is very important. But to me, how good your entry is really drives everything. Because if I can buy ETH between 1,000 to 1,500, maybe even a little lower. Like, if I'm buying ETH down here, right, it's kind of tagged that zone already, maybe a little bit lower. I'm pretty confident I can 2 to 3x my money on whatever those buys are. And that means ETH doesn't even have to go near its last market high. It could die at 3,000. That could be the entire bull run for ETH next time. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it could, right? That could, that would be all I need to kind of capture my 2-bagger, my 3-bagger on something that I can buy spot with size, extremely liquid, exit very easily, very predictably. So I think trying to get your entry right is very important with these things. And I do think that, this is probably pretty good value for ETH. And if you get under 1,000, I think that that's like a no-brainer, because then at that point, if you're in ETH at $800, $1,000 per coin, If it goes back to 5,000, it's a 5-bagger. If it only goes to 2,000, it's a 2-bagger, right? So like if you buy ETH here and it only pumps to here, you've already doubled your money, and like we're still kind of in this range here. So that's what I'm watching on ETH here. Not much to update. Zooming in, it's a similar setup to Bitcoin, but I just like the Bitcoin setup more. And we didn't quite get a weekly SFP here, at least not on this chart, right? Excuse me. It did sweep the low. So I like the Bitcoin setup more, and still clearly a lot of attention around Solana. Now Robinhood's going to be launching its own chain, or did launch its own chain. I don't know where ETH fits in the world at this point going forward, but I'll be watching it. If I can buy it cheap, I will. But in terms of trading, I'm having just much more success trading other stuff right now. The best trade I took on ETH was the short that we took up here, if you guys remember. So the best trade I've taken on ETH was a short. And if I think the market's going to bounce, I would rather look to long Bitcoin, Solana, Hyperliquid, the stuff that we've been watching that's been more reflexive to the upside, or at the very least, just like more predictable, you know? So speaking of Sol, damn, I was going hard on the drawings here. Clearly giving you guys a full, excuse me, guys. I'm sorry if I yawn a bunch. I drank 47 beers yesterday, one for every year of my age, and I'm feeling all 47 of them. I was giving you guys a full lesson on risk management. So we talked about this SMT long. Like, there's nothing I like more than talking about the setup that I like, explaining the logic behind the setup. So, hey, this is why this is a long. It's an SMT. Here's the price action. Here's the entry. Here's the stop. And then the next couple streams, it plays out exactly as I predicted, because what this does is two things. It feeds my incessant need for clout. It feeds it. But then on top of that, it also allows me to kind of demonstrate that the stuff I'm sharing with you, it's not hindsight. Like, you know, it's the market, the whiteboard videos are great, but everything I'm showing you on the whiteboard video is like stuff that's already happened. When you watch the streams, you see me talk about the stuff I teach you, but execute it live, and it plays out live. And that's just so much more powerful because we talk about it, we show you the setup, why I like the setup, and then you go ahead and take it and it works, and it's like, okay, this is awesome, right? The proof is in the pudding. So yeah, we took the SMT long here on Sol, and then we had the H4 M15 setup. That was kind of like a secondary compound entry. That printed as well. Now we can kind of get rid of all of this shit, I think. And just look at Sol kind of here on the daily. And I think pretty clear level, right? Like if we're going to go up, I think you want to probably be looking to long Solana around the order block here. Like that's kind of the area, I think, where you want to long this thing if the market's going to continue to go up. And that lines up very well with Bitcoin potentially having a little bit more downside in it, another couple points, right? This would be a little bit of a pullback on Sol, another 5-6%. That lines up very well with Bitcoin pulling back a little. Now, there is an argument to be made that Bitcoin might already have the low in, right? So we had an H12 SFP here, right? But that is now broken through. So we had the H12 sweep here, that gives you this 1 hour breaker. And I posted this on Telegram. I was like, maybe up from here. But now we've broken below that H12 low. So I like the setup less. It's still possible that we bottom out in this area, right? Which is kind of this H1 breaker. So it's still possible, right? Like we could absolutely, okay, there's, a little sweep. We could push up from here, but I don't like this as a setup on its own. If it goes up from here, so be it. It won't be with me. I'll wait and see if we get a move down to here. And if we get a move down to here from where we are right now, that's, 3 to 5% on Bitcoin. That's absolutely going to put Sol, kind of into this range of, 70 to 72, whatever it is. But nice rip from the lows. We literally shared this long at 67, right? Like $67. That's a hell of an entry, and rinse the entire thing there. So pretty happy with that result on Sol. But that's all I kind of got for Solana there. If Bitcoin pulls back a little more, I'd look for this thing to put in a higher low, high 60s, low 70s. How many times have I blown up in my trading career? Innumerable. I couldn't even tell you. Early on, it was all the time. Like, it really depends on how you define a blow up, because I've nuked accounts. It wasn't all my money, right? But I've like blown up accounts before, but I've also blown up and lost pretty much all my money and zeroed multiple times. Multiple times. So it absolutely is something that I think every new and aspiring trader has to go through, and it's something every profitable trader has experienced, which is zeroing out, blowing up your account, starting over again from scratch. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. And I think after you do it enough times, you really understand just how important risk management is. It's everything. It's everything. Doesn't matter how good you are at analyzing the charts. You have an edge. You can identify where good setups are. If your risk management sucks, you're never going to be able to last in the game long term. Main, one more question, please. Regarding your strategy, it's very hard to backtest since it's very specific, and one pair can only give 2 setups per month. Any idea how to gather data? Look at more pairs. Backtest it, right? Backtest it. And just in this last week, we had 3 or 4 opportunities using my strategy on Solana and Bitcoin. Just those 2. Not to mention the innumerable amounts of alts who put in very similar setups. So broaden your horizon, look at more pairs, backtest as well. And there's going to be periods of time where my strategy is not giving you as many setups. That's how I trade now. If you want more setups, use lower time frames, right? Instead of using the H12, H1, do H4, M15. Same thing. Hate from Toronto. Thank you, bro. So there's Sol. Let's really quickly go over some TradFi stuff here, and then we'll get to some of these chart requests. So equities, a little bit of a spill, right? With the end of the ceasefire. The ceasefire's off. It's on. It's off. It's on. Continued waffling. I don't think anything's changed here, really. I think if we get a large correction, I'm still looking at that same old level that I was, right? Just that OG trend line, those old highs. Right? And if you're looking at the breakout trade, it's once we get above these longs, right? Or once we get above these highs, excuse me, it's kind of just like a breakout long. Breakout above the high, stop below the low that broke us out of there. So if we get one more rejection here, like if we break out now, I think maybe you could put your stop below here, but I think the safer stop loss placement is down below this low. But this setup is still the exact same, right? Breakout above the highs, and then, let's go. Otherwise, chilling, sitting on hands. The fact that we're not, crazy nuking off of the ceasefire being back over, right, and oil pumping is a little curious, I would say. Right, oil came back down to our level. I was like, hey, man, this stuff's going to go back below this trend line here. Remember our very simple diagram. War over, right? Oil down. War on, oil up. So Trump saying the ceasefire is over and oil pumping is not surprising. It's just you wonder what is equities going to do, right? Is the ceasefire going to get reestablished? I don't know, but we're going to continuously play this, terrible game of Red Rover until, I don't know, something fucking happens. But nothing ever seems to happen. But something's got to happen eventually, right? Like something's got to give. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But that's kind of where I'm at on equities. Like nothing's really changed. We've broken kind of this more aggressive trend line here on the Dow. Let's see if this can establish a new low, new trend, continue higher. But this sell-off is kind of this Iran-US ceasefire falling apart. And you can see that across the indices here, the Russell, the NQ, right? So the NQ is put in a sweep here. No, 8-hour sweep, but who's looking at the 8-hour? But it's the same setup, right? That I keep talking about. Lower high potentially for now, right? That is a daily SFP there, I guess. Lower high potentially for now, right? But we're into what could be argued is demand here with the daily sweep inside. I'm much more interested in getting long on a breakout or getting a long lower, but you got to be open to anything. Got to be open to anything. So you could argue that, maybe this is where we reverse from right here, right? And then stop goes below the daily sweep. Maybe that's the setup and it goes after these, kind of low resistance liquidity downward trend line levels here. Easy targets, but again, breakout all-time high, stop below the low. That's the setup. The dollar holding, right? Holding above 100. I'd mentioned maybe a pullback and then higher. It got a pullback, retested the range low. It's pushing up. I'm still looking maybe that it pulls back into this weekly demand here. But ultimately, all I really care about is that it holds kind of this 100 level. I don't want to see us back below the 100 level for any significant period of time. I want this thing to continue to trend higher. Micron, I've been getting absolutely cooked by my older brother. He's like, AMD earnings are coming. You could buy AMD today at, fucking 510. It's going to be way higher soon. It's like, maybe he's right. But he's got like full-on normie portfolio right now. He's long memory. He's long AI stuff. He's long fucking Cheesecake Factory and all sorts of other stuff. Very well-balanced portfolio. And he's been doing a lot of research and he's making money. That's the most important part. So I'm stoked he's making money. I don't know how long the shenanigans continue to go on with this stuff, if the memory top is in or if this thing's just going to bottom here and send it again and make another fresh high. But we talked about this kind of diminishing amplitude on these pumps, signaling some weakness. We got a decent pullback. So now the question is just, what happens from here? We're into demand. Let's see. Same thing with SanDisk, right? Big pullback, one of the larger pullbacks we've had in some time, right? Like this is 20% bottom to top. This one's almost 40% top to bottom, excuse me. So arguably the biggest correction we've had, in this entire run up, I think would be, is that a safe assessment? 30% there. Yeah, 30% there, 30% there. Almost 40% on this one. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. It's way too early to to know if the top is in on this memory stuff. I mean, Ansem's thesis is top's in on memory, bottom's in on crypto. All the money in the AI trade is going to rotate into crypto. I don't fucking know, dude. I do not fucking know. I'm just going to keep trading level to level, look to buy Bitcoin. If we get another deeper dip, continue to buy more spot, and just live my life. Live my life. I don't worry myself with the need or desire to try and predict the top or the bottom. I just need to be close, and I need to just get allocated and make money along the way. I don't really care about anything else. Tesla potentially putting in that lower high, right? That we talked about. Lower high there. Now it's got lower lows, lower highs here. I would want to see this now break structure. Like if this is going to go down more, I think you need to see it break structure here for continued downside. Otherwise, this could pump and just have another leg up, right? Same thing with NVIDIA. I wanted to see us break structure below this low. Jim Cramer tweeted out like, hey, NVIDIA is like a buy. Naturally, everyone's like, oh my God, he said it's a buy, so it's a sell. I said, hey, if it breaks this low, it could roll. But it hasn't broken the low. It's why it's so important to have rules and just levels of levels where you use to make decisions, right? So I want to short NVIDIA because I think that there's a short setup forming, right? We've got kind of a monthly SFP. We've got a weekly structure break. Like there's a pretty compelling argument to be made that this is the high and we're going to get some sort of lower high here, whether it's from right where we are now, right? Or up here. I don't know yet. But what I do know is based on structure, I have levels where I can look for things to happen at. First level was this weekly break here. Now, if this thing's actually weak and it's actually going to roll over, I want to see the 12-hour chart put in another lower low. If the 12-hour chart puts in another lower low, I think that gives you really high odds that this is at least some sort of decent, meaningful high, at least for some period of time, and you can look to short. Until then, I'm not rushing in to short this thing, and then you say, hey, the weekly broke down here, I'm going to short it immediately, and then you just get railed with a 10% counter move. Wait for the low time frame. If you believe that the weekly essentially just did this, right? And now it's doing this. So if you believe the weekly is ultimately going to do this, right, which would mean this trades lower, on the 12-hour chart or the daily chart or the 3-day chart, but probably daily and 12-hour because you're looking at the weekly, we're going to want to see this be in a downtrend. Lower highs and lower lows, which is what we're seeing so far. Let me see another lower low. That will probably be my trigger for a setup here. All right. So let's get into some of the chart requests here, guys. Because I am running on absolute fucking fumes. I don't know if you can tell from the way I'm speaking, but your boy is not all there today. He's not all there. But you know me. I gotta get the videos out for the people. Okay. I was referring to the whiteboard system, not the H12, H1 strategy. They're the same thing. The stuff I'm teaching you in the whiteboard series is the H12, H1 system. The H12 is just your daily dealing range, right? The H1 is just your H1 area of interest within that 12-hour dealing range. That's all it is. It's all one and the same. It's just price. It's just price action. All right. Excuse me. I'm sorry if I keep yawning, guys. I'm literally so tired. Can I see the chat? Hope is blessed. Yes, I can, dude. I love my GT3 RS. It's one of the best things I've ever bought with money ever. Was that fucking thing. Nuclear stock SMR. Okay, we can take a look at that. Oracle, we can take a look at that too, bro. Okay, let's see here. Cody's got a list. So first thing everyone wants to look at is Cashcat. So someone's gonna have to give me the lore here. Now, am I understanding this correctly? Cashcat is a Robinhood chain, right? It's a Robinhood chain coin. And Vlad, who is the CEO of Robinhood, I think was in, like, did he endorse it? So Cashcat is the OG name for Robinhood back in the day. So he's mentioned it a million times. So typical meme coin trader stuff. Robinhood launches a chain. He says he likes meme coins. And immediately people are like, what's the name of his cat, his dog, his old company's name? Did they have a kid? And yeah, so clearly this coin's been talked about, or that term has been talked about a million times by him. So now they've got a meme coin called Cashcat, 100 mil. 100 mil. So we got a runner. We've got 2 9-figure runners between this and Ansem. I don't have any real opinion on the coin. I don't really know. I don't know anything about this. Are there, like, how's the holder distribution? Were there insiders? Are there people who are holding a bunch of the supply? Were there people who knew about it before it fucking ripped, before he tweeted? I think we'll probably talk about that. I think we have a few posts about that where people are like, yeah, wallets that are being tracked in the Robinhood trenches, these wallets all bought early. So the question is, you know, is this interesting? This one's a bridge. But okay, so this one's a bridge, supposedly. But 50 seconds before he posted, this person bought $15,000 of Cashcat. Is that strange? Is that odd? 10 minutes before he posted, this person bought 35 grand. They're up 100K. So is this luck? Is it coincidence? I don't really know. I don't have an opinion on these charts. Like, I'm not a meme coin guy. I am personally of the mind, like, I understand meme coins. I understand why people want meme coins, why they care about meme coins, why people are, blowing Ansem up right now about meme coins, because it is an area in crypto where you can make asymmetric, crazy returns in sometimes a very short period of time. There's not a lot of places on the planet and a lot of ways on the planet, where you can turn $1,000 into $1 million. You can do that in meme coins. Okay. And that is the pitch. Where else are you going to be able to turn a little bit of money into a lot? It's like the lottery. It's like the casino. It's so easy to shill, right? Because you're saying, hey, like, this is how you're going to get rich. Everyone's going to get rich. Like, if I wanted to blow up on Twitter and I had a brand new account and I want to get super popular, all I would do is talk about meme coins. I'd be talking about how everyone's going to get rich, and I would do cash giveaways. Okay? Like, that's what I would do. I would be like, yo, guys, we're all going to make it. Meme coins are the way. Everybody's going to print generational wealth on chain, and I would give away money. That would blow your Twitter up account super fucking fast. Because it sounds nice. Like, of course, who doesn't want everyone? Like, of course, I want everyone to make it, right? I want everyone to make money, and I would love for you to put $100 into something and make generational fuck you money off of that $100. I'm a bit more of a pragmatist. Right? I'm a little bit more pragmatic in that I'm of the mindset the vast majority of the people who trade meme coins are going to lose all their money. But the vast majority of the people who trade are going to lose all their money. So it's like, I can't throw stones while standing in a glass house. More people lose money than make money trading. Way more. 80, 90% of people who try and trade get fucking their ass handed to them. 99% of people who trade meme coins get their ass handed to them. The vast majority of you are going to lose all your money trading meme coins. Pretty much every single one is going to zero over a certain amount of time. Whether it's the hottest coin on the fucking planet Earth, for a period of time or not, eventually all of these coins have kind of the same trajectory, which is they're going to have a 90, 95%, 99% drawdown, and they're likely never going to go up to their prior highs. Now, it doesn't mean you can't make money, doesn't mean you can't trade them, but I'm just a little bit more, again, pragmatic about the situation, right? Like the vast majority of you are going to lose your ass trading meme coins. But I totally understand why you want to do it. I'm not going to try and tell you that the casino isn't fun and that you might win, because you might. But the vast majority of people in the trenches, it's a mass casualty event. It's what the trenches were in real life. You didn't want to be in the trenches. The trenches were fucking horrible. Trenches in crypto are equally horrible. But that is not a popular take on Twitter, because the vast majority of people that are on crypto Twitter, that are commenting under Ansem's tweets and posts and talking about these coins, the vast majority of these people are broke. And I'm not saying that like that's a bad thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very easy for me to, like, I'm gonna catch a whole lot more bees with honey. If I tell a bunch of broke people that they don't need money to get rich, meme coins are it, buy meme coins, you're going to turn $1,000 into $1 million. That's a very popular message, because most people might only have $1,000 and they don't have enough money where buying Bitcoin and it going up 2 to 3x is going to change their life in any meaningful way. If you've got $10,000 and you buy Bitcoin at 50K and it goes to 150K, you've tripled your investment, but like you've got 30 grand. I'm not saying that's bad, but like that's not life-changing money. There's people who put 10K into a meme coin and make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. It does happen. But that is the exception, right? That's not the norm. That's an outlier event. And again, I'm not going to try and tell people to not do it, not pay attention to it. That would be silly. You can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. But again, I'm just a realist. Like, most of you are going to get absolutely annihilated trading meme coins and being in the trenches by, one, the fact that most of these coins are going to zero, pretty much all of them, over a certain amount of time horizon. And there's very sophisticated actors in the trenches, in the meme coin space, who coordinate a lot of these pushes and these pumps and these dumps, and they extract money from people by shilling it to their fucking audience. Like, they're on stream to thousands of people talking about a 500K market cap coin. They've already bought, it goes up on stream, they sell, and they're on the top leaderboard of P&L every month. And it's like, okay, well, are they farming their followers? Whose fault is it? Is it their fault for taking advantage of their followers, or is it their followers' fault for being fucking sheep? I think it's everybody's fault. Everybody's going to jail. I'm going to jail. You're going to jail. I'll see you in there. Okay. I get the top bunk. But yeah, so I don't really have an opinion on Cashcat. I don't know. Hopefully it keeps going up and more of you guys can make money. Just be careful, because eventually it's going to lose mind share. And then, remember when Ansem's entire thing was WIF, right? Now it's his own coin, but it was WIF before. Like, this used to be the coin, right, that everyone talked about. His coin is now trading at a higher market cap than this. And lots of people made money on this thing, but a whole lot of people are also down, 90+% on their investment, and they're never getting their money back. But that's trading as well. Most of you are not going to make money trading. I want to be this like positive cheerleader and be like, oh, we're all going to make it, because I would probably get more engagement on Twitter if I did, and more views on YouTube if I did. But I just know that that's not the case. I've been around here long enough to just know, like, most of you are not going to make it. Most of you will never succeed at trading. Most of you are never going to make money trading meme coins. It just is what it is. So the thing that I can do, in my opinion, the best is share knowledge and information and allow you to have your best shot at it. Because the difference between meme coins and trenches, etc., is even though most of you will fail at trading, at least with trading, you can have an edge. You can use technical analysis, fundamental analysis, proper risk management, and have a strategy that actually stacks the deck in your favor. Doesn't mean you're going to make money. Doesn't mean it's going to work. But if you do all the things right, it's like playing perfect blackjack or perfect poker. You're going to give yourself your best odds. And if you can all of a sudden win 30, 40% of your trades with good risk management, you're now making money. So I'll show you guys how to do that. That's what I've been doing with the whiteboard series. But yeah, the meme coin thing is just not for me. Let's do some TA on Ansem. Let's see if it works, right? Let's see if it works. Part of TA is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if enough people are looking at the same level, then it becomes a level. So in theory, if I was looking at this like this was any chart, not that this is Ansem coin, assume that this is any regular chart here, okay? I think I see a, fair value gap here. Definitely on the daily, right? Like there's your daily fair value gap. It's huge. And we have a daily SFP right there. Okay. So within there, here's our daily range. We broke down, swept the range lows. I mean, technically, can I go down to the 30-minute on here? If this is going to go up, and this were any chart on the world, not Ansem coin, like this is just a regular ass chart, I think if it gets above this, in theory, your stop goes down there, and that's your trade setup. Will this work? I have no idea. Is this coin going to go up more? I have no idea, but that would be the trade that jumps out to me back to all-time high. Also kind of coincides with a very clear trend line break that's happened here, right? So we've broken that trend line. You could even argue that the long is here and your stop is there, right? That's kind of just a trend line trade. But either of these setups, I think, are logical and make sense. And that's just using TA. Has nothing to do with the coin. So if this thing's going to continue to go, I think that's kind of what you want to see. This daily fair value gap hold, and you just want to see another leg higher. I have no idea. I don't know what Ansem's plan is with this thing. I know he wrote a tweet about it earlier, I think yesterday. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but that's what I see on Ansem coin. Okay. Okay, Uni. And to be clear, if Bitcoin rolls, some people are saying, okay, well, Cashcat vamped this thing. This thing got launched and went up fucking a few 1,000%, immediately. I mean, it went zero to 450 million in a straight line. A pullback's going to happen. Who knows where this coin goes? Does this become $1 billion coin? I have no idea. But let's assume it does. There are going to be multiple 60% corrections on the way up. That's just how it happens, right? Look at any of these coins. I wish the fucking shirts function on this fucking worked. I understand why it's such dog shit. It always happens. This is why I never use Dex Screener. Every time I try and look up a coin with the search function, it doesn't fucking work. Because I want to see the full price of WIF. I want to see all of it. Shouldn't WIF be here somewhere? Am I retarded? Where the fuck is WIF? Again, I can't even get WIF to show up, but fucking Dex Screener, piece of shit website, dude. Anyways, there will be multiple corrections along the way if this thing's going to continue to go higher. I understand what the signal, the ticker is, bro, but I can't even use the search function. It's just giving me this. Anyways, Uni. This guy says all in day. You guys are nuts. That big guy. That big guy. I don't know, man. Uni. Does Uniswap have a renaissance? Use Bird Eye. Like, here's what I'll say about Uni and the million other altcoins that you guys are probably watching. Like, a lot of this stuff is sitting at all-time lows. So, like, if there was ever a time to look at altcoins, it's definitely now. I'm not saying the bottom's in necessarily, but a lot of these coins are like, the problem most of you guys have is this entire way down, you're trying to buy the dip. And then when the coin is already down 99%, right, you're out of money. Whereas now, in a bear market where we are already 90+% down on most of these coins, this is the time to pay attention. Whether or not this is the bottom for Uni, I have no idea. This could go lower. It might go lower. It might not go lower. I don't know. You still got to be careful. This could put in another 30% down move. I don't know. But being down 90+% off of all-time high, if you're going to look at altcoins, that is the time to start paying attention and to say, okay, what stuff do I like? What stuff might have a chart set up? Uni might never go back to all-time high. I think that's pretty safe to say it's not going back to $45, right? This is the last bull run here, right? Where's our October high? So like Uni didn't even like make it to $20 in this last bull run, right? It didn't even make it to $20. It's not going back here. This is the future for all altcoins, right? I always go back to EOS as a good example of this, right? Like Uni is somewhere in this EOS life cycle, right? It made its high in 2017. Never again. But being down 90%. Now the question is Uniswap makes money. EOS, no idea what the fuck it does. But at least with Uni, it makes money. There's a business there. So worth looking at more than other random coins that are probably never going up again. But even though it makes money, I don't think it ever is going back to $45. I'll never say never because I'm not, I'm a Justin Bieber fan and only Sith deals in absolutes. But down 90%, it's where you want to look, and it doesn't have to go back to all-time high for you to make money. This thing can go back to here, and it's a three-bagger, right? Like, it doesn't have to go back to all-time high. So I think that's what you want to be looking for on a lot of these altcoins right now is like, okay, is it bottoming out? It doesn't have to go that high for me to make money. But this is at least a business. Uniswap makes money, right? Uniswap makes money. So many of these other coins that you guys look at that are down 90%, you're like, when's this going to bottom, right? If you're going to go bottom fishing, I would much prefer bottom fish on a company that actually does something, makes money. It's an interesting area here. I don't know if this is the bottom yet. We're into monthly demand here. We've taken out this old monthly low. I think this is an area to pay attention for sure. If you like Uni, I think this is probably decent value down here. Maybe it has one more leg lower, right? Maybe it has one more leg lower. I don't know. But I'd say this is a good time to pay attention. I would mark this low out. If it runs that initial low, I think you kind of have to buy. Like I already sort of like the setup now, right? Break the low, reclaim. If it can push up from here, I think it looks decent. And then you have a very clear invalidation there. But if it takes out that original low from back here at 176 and gives you kind of like a third drive to the downside, I think that's a pretty good looking area to maybe buy some. So that's what I'd be watching right now. See if it holds this low. If not, that level I really like. If it breaks out here, right? If it breaks out here, you could literally long and just put your stop there and see how high this thing pops. Okay, we'll look at near. I think near is one that we have been charting quite often. And I shared a setup, right? This is that weekly. So this is the same setup that I've shared on Bitcoin. Right? I said I want to see it come and retest this H12 breaker after the sweep, right? Sweep, move up, come down and test. Well, near has given you the retest now. So it's got a weekly SFP. Not a weekly SFP, but it took out last week's low. It's probably got a 3-day SFP. There you go. 3-day SFP, same shit. But it took out last week's low into demand. Go down to the 12-hour. There's your breaker. We're in the discount of the range. So like that's the setup. You could literally enter this right now even. That's the setup. Your invalidation's there. So if this thing's going to go, it should go from here. Otherwise, you're wrong. And you fucking move on. So that would be the setup there. If you want to take this now, if you left limit orders on, right? And you just had your limit orders at the breaker, you know, you're already filled and you're in a little bit of drawdown. Same. So that's near, right? If it's going to go, it's kind of want to see it go from right here. Same as Bitcoin. Like if it's going to go higher, I kind of want to see it just go. Maybe it gets one more little stab, but it might front run this zone and that's totally okay. Sometimes that happens. But it's identical setup here. Weekly low taken out, break, retest, 12-hour. SMR is a nuclear stock. All right, let's get fucking nucleated. We covered Sol and Cashcat. Just rewind the stream. And these streams always stay up, guys. So like if you can't watch the entire thing, I always put them up with timestamps right after. So as soon as this stream's done, I'll upload the entire stream and then with timestamps. So you can just click and find exactly where I talk about whatever I might have missed or what you were hoping to see. SMR is backed by the US Gov. Feels like a good long-term play. I'm down 30% on SMR. 8 to 8.5 is deep discount. A deal. XPL's on the list, dude. You don't have to keep typing it in the chat. So just relax. Yeah, like the shit's nuked pretty fucking hard already. I don't know anything about the company. Key statistics, $3 billion market cap. So in theory, Ansem is worth 10% of this nuclear company that makes $30 million a year in revenue. That's it? Wait a minute. What's going on here? Hold on. Am I reading this right? Net income was negative 350 mil. Their revenue was only 31 million. What does this company do? Lose money? Like, is that what this entire business model is, just to lose money? There's got to be something wrong with that. Provides proprietary and innovative small modular reactors, SMR, hence the name, nuclear tech with the mission to help power the global energy transitions to delivering safe, scalable, reliable, carbon-free energy. Its products include Voyager SMR plants, energy exploration centers. The company was founded by Jose Reyes in 2007. I don't understand. Like, am I retarded or no? So founded in 2007, but this only has data going back to 2021. Okay, so it's made $31 million revenue in 2025. Cost of goods sold, 20 million. So gross profits, 11 million. And then their operating expenses is 700 million. That's a lot of spending this year. Like, their spending is up like 3 to 4x. So their operating income's negative 700 mil. I mean, I don't really know, dude. Does this company make money? Like, why is the stock going to go up? Do they make money? Is there now the fact that there was a big jump in spending? That's kind of interesting. Maybe something's coming. I don't know. Who knows more about this company? I'm kind of just like, I'm intrigued. This guy's like, it's a good long-term buy, but they lost $700 million last year, and it doesn't look like they plan on making money anytime soon. High time frame demand. We're in it. Right? We're in high time frame demand here. That would be the bullish argument, I think. That would be the bullish argument. Aggressively selling off. Slightly less aggressive sell-off, but not sure yet. Still too early to tell. I wouldn't buy this thing yet. Just me. Like, I wouldn't buy this thing yet. I would wait and see some more structure for him here. Maybe we sweep out this low. Maybe we get some sort of consolidation here, some sort of range that becomes tradable, and then you have a setup. Or we sweep out, like the low down here, and then we'll see, because that's a big quarterly low, right? Like, this low is a yearly low, probably. No, not quite. It's quarterly low, though. If we take out that quarterly low, then I might be interested. We took out last quarter's low, right? That's the low that we're taking out right now. So if this becomes a big sweep and then we hold, that's your setup, right? So like, if this pumps up like this, that is your invalidation below that low. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to see it maybe sweep this quarterly low here, which is at like $7. And if we get below that quarterly low here, that seems interesting. Yo, hey from Brazil. Thank you, bro. This looks identical to Bloom Energy before the pump. Well, let's see. What part of these two charts look identical to you? Okay, this is the weekly. This is the weekly. Like, unless we're like, I don't know, here. I don't see the similarities here. But there's an argument to be made, like someone over on Twitter said, right? Is, maybe they're investing heavily into something. I don't really know. $700 million in expenses, which is triple from last year's expenditure. Maybe they know something they don't know. But I like a sweep of 688, a sweep of 7. Sweep that quarterly low, I might be interested. Or make this red. I'm actually going to do this. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to put an alert on this level. So if we cross that level, then I might be interested here. Okay, we're running a little long in the tooth here. Should I start streaming earlier in the day? What is life? I hate being hungover, bro. I hate being hungover. Nothing to update here. I told you guys I like this chart. I like the setup, but I need to see the structure break, and it just hasn't done it yet, right? It came up to the highs again, did not close above. So this was last stream. It was pumping. I was like, I want to see us move above, and then pull back, and then get continuation. We just haven't got that yet. This is a weekly zone, right? This is a weekly zone that we're looking at here. So it's going to take time, right? We can spend weeks, literally weeks, working this level. So you have to be prepared for that. I said that there might be a low that gets swept here. Now we have two lows that could get swept. So if either of these lows get swept and then give us a setup, that might be kind of your trigger, right? Get a weekly sweep within this weekly breaker. I like that idea. But for now, nothing. I don't have the setup yet. If it breaks above here, 1130, breaks above there, pullback is along. Otherwise, sweep one of these lows, give us a nice little SFP. That might give us a low time frame setup. But for now, it's kind of working this weekly demand zone. Lighter, one that we've been tracking for a while and has partnered with Robinhood, right? Absolutely ripping. So we've been talking about Lighter forever, kind of just saying, hey, this was the original 5 stages of main chart. Aggressive, less aggressive, sideways, this way. Now it's going really aggressively to the upside, right? And you can see it in all stages. It's the inverse of this, right? The sell-off is so aggressive that you're not even getting proper pullbacks, right? And then the sell-off chills out a little bit, and you're actually getting pullbacks into bearish order blocks before it makes lower lows, right? And then it goes sideways. Well, now we have the inverse happening. It's in an uptrend, but the uptrend is not so aggressive that you're not getting pullbacks. Every one of these moves pulled back into the order block, right? But now the sell-off, the buying is getting so aggressive, it's not even pulling in to the order blocks anymore. It's starting to get parabolic. So what does that mean? It means if you want to trade this thing, if you want to get long this thing, you have to do it on a lower time frame, right? You have to do it on a lower time frame. So if we're on the lower time frame now, like the H12, maybe the daily, let's see. Do I like the daily? Like that might be asking too much, like literally. That might be asking too much. I don't know. Mid-range pullback? Is that it? Obviously, the deeper into the discount, the better. But this thing's been trending so hard, it might not happen. It might not happen. So we'll see. If it comes into there, I think that's kind of the first area I'd watch. If it gets a larger correction, that would probably be in line with Bitcoin pulling back more and the rest of the market pulling back more. And then, you could look deeper into pullback of this kind of larger price swing as opposed to this just little immediate leg. But if it's really strong and the markets are going to pump, maybe that's all we get if we even get that. So that's what I'd be looking at on Lighter here. All right, guys, I got a couple more charts and then I'm going to move on to some other stuff here. So VVV. So this is Venice, and this is Vohouris, right? So I think the talk about this token right now has been along the lines of, do we like this kind of dual model? I believe where they have both equity in the company and a token. And if I'm not mistaken, Cody will correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what Vohouris is building is like a I don't know if it's open source, but like an AI model, an LLM that is not full of, censorship, political bias, etc. Right? Because at the end of the day, Anthropic, Perplexity, OpenAI, there is going to be some of the politics of the company, the developers, to inculcate their AI model with some leanings, right? Like, I think early on, a lot of what Elon would show is like, if you ask ChatGPT certain things, it won't give you maybe the answer you want because it might not be in line with the left-wing narrative. Whereas Grok is a lot more like, we'll say anything, So the token is designed as a utility token for accessing Venice's AI infrastructure. Access to private AI inference through Venice's API can be staked to gain AI usage rights and platform benefits intended for AI agents, developers, and applications that need AI compute without traditional subscription billing. So the token has a use case. I believe I'm correct on what the company does. It's an LLM. But it's something I just don't like. The only reason I know this is because I read like a few tweets. Like, I'm not some fucking subject matter expert on this shit. So there you go. So when we looked at this last time, we had a high time frame sweep, right? Weekly sweep up at the high. Even a monthly sweep, I think, took out prior month's high. Weekly sweep up at the high. And then I just worked my way down and I just said, okay, this thing's likely going to roll over if we break structure. And that's kind of exactly what's happened here. We got that rollover and we got that structure break, right? So here was kind of short number one off the weekly sweep, retest right there. And then when we got another leg lower, all I did was draw out the order block, right? That caused that move down. There's your rejection, lower prices again. So that short idea from whenever that was, I genuinely don't remember the last time we looked at this token. It could have been yesterday. It could have been a month ago. I don't remember. Now, and this is why I only trade like 2 or 3 coins, just because I'm like, I want to live my life. I like being focused on, what I'm good at, what I know. I don't need to be trading a million different coins, and there's just too many to keep track of, bro. I just like my nice little watch list, BTC, ETH, Solana, couple TradFi things. That's it, bro. I'm just like a horse with blinders on, and all I do is draw lines and boxes on charts and make fucking money, and I don't worry about any of the other shit that's going on. So it's kind of front run my level. Right? Like, this is the level I would look at immediately. Now, you could argue that they have a fair value gap here as well, that it's in, and we've taken out last week's low. So that's last week's low. We've taken it out, potentially a move up. Now, what you got to be careful of is this took out last week's low, right? Went up a little bit and then just rolled over again, right? Just rolled over again. So just because we took out last week's low doesn't mean it's going to pump and go to new highs, but it is an area where a setup potentially could form. So we're into a fair value gap here. We took out last week's low. I would say if it's able to get above this, right? If it's able to get above this, I think you have a setup. Like, I think that is a setup if it gets above there. Otherwise, chilling. Right? Like, when we took out the prior week's low here, if it would have gone above there, I would have said the same thing. It never did. So if we're able to get above this, it might have a little bit of a pop here. There might be a setup that you can use using that low. If the market's going to roll over further, if Bitcoin's going to go lower, the market's not done selling off, well, then I would look on the weekly and I would look for it to come and test this demand down here. But we're not there now, so I'm not going to worry about what happens if we get there. I'm going to say, hey, maybe there's a setup here. Here's my logic. So logic makes sense. Yes, checks the box. Okay, let's see if there's a trade. All right, we're going to look at Hyperliquid, Backpack, then AR, and then we're donezo on the chart request, guys. Inculcate, good word. Inculcate is a good word. I really have a hard time focusing to a few tokens. I get ADHD brain. I hate it. Yeah, I mean, one of the things about crypto is like there's just shit happening everywhere all the time. Constant information stream, flow of just new bullshit all the time. It's not going to help you, looking at a million things at the same time. You got to try and be laser focused on what you're doing, right? Get laser focused on what you're doing. In my opinion, that's the route to, have success. Just get really good. Focus on one thing at a time. Crush that one thing, right? If that's trading meme coins in the trenches, go for it. If it's trading leverage in the majors, go for it. But trying to do everything at the same time, especially early on, I think most people will try and catch everything. They're trying to catch the runners in the trenches. They're trying to trade, trying to do this, and this. And they end up failing at everything as opposed to trying to just do one thing really fucking good. So not much to update here on hype, right? Like we have this weekly kind of range, low to high. I'd mapped out this 12-hour light daily level, just as order block. Said, hey, maybe it's going to go up from here. Yeah, FOMO, dude. Of course. You don't think I'm like, I wish I would have longed, Cashcat at fucking 1 million market cap and 100x to my money. You're like, of course, dude. This happened while I was asleep. Like you're always gonna miss something. You're always gonna miss something. You're always gonna miss something, right? So like it's impossible to catch every fucking move. So to like have FOMO and be like, oh my God, this is fucking this fucking happened and I'm not fucking in it. Like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a short. I don't know how this guy's dumb up. It's legit a short, but he's helping you guys. So be grateful to Trader Man. What's a short? Are you talking about Hyperliquid? Hyperliquid is potentially a short, dude. We took out that weekly, like the high, right? We took out all-time high. And my kind of thought process on Hyperliquid is the moment it loses this low, right? I think that's really bad. I think there's a chance for a pullback, but this is kind of what we've been watching on Hyperliquid, right? Like that's a sweep. If it loses the low that caused the sweep, is probably a short, right? We got a little bit of a sweep here. It's kind of rolling over a little bit, but as long as it's holding this demand zone, it might rip again. And if the market goes up, this has always been the coin that goes up the most, basically. So that's kind of what I'm watching. This demand zone is the demand zone to watch. All right. Kind of want backpack on here. No. What is this coin? Look, I have FOMO, guys. I have FOMO. What is backpack coin and why is it up so much? What is backpack and why is backpack ripping? This token is mintable and freezable. That seems bad. That seems bad, no? So I have FOMO. Why am I not in backpack? What does backpack do? Who's in backpack? Who made money on backpack? What's in the backpack? What's in the box? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here with this thing. I've never heard of this coin before until you shielded in my chat. Single block analysis. Tokenized equity. It's tokenized equity. There you go. Yeah, like that's kind of all I see here is just like, it's kind of like, come into demand and starting to put in higher highs, higher lows potentially. So if this thing's going to go, I think you just kind of want to see it make a new high, right? Like I think you'd want to see it break above this. It's kind of your wedge. If it gets above here, looks interesting. If it loses the trend line, I think deeper into this zone. AR. Antero Resources? I doubt it. I doubt it. You probably want this thing. I don't know, dude. Let me do you a favor. Let me do you a favor. Spend your time looking at something that's not this. I don't know why you're forcing yourself to look at this. Now, similar to the conversation we had about Uni, if you're going to look at a token and an altcoin because you believe in it or whatever your fucking reasoning is, when it's down 98%, that's a better time to be looking at it than not, right? But what does this do? Uni at least makes money. What does this company do? I have no idea. What does this token do? Does it do anything? And just like the last year of price action on this is pretty abysmal. It doesn't mean it can't go up. I'm just saying, like, you know, the last year price action, pretty abysmal. This thing's basically been in a range since February. So it is down 98% from its high. So I think you could make an argument that it's like kind of interesting to look at now. Do I like this? But I don't know, man. Just think there's better stuff to look at than tokens that are like look like this, but it's down 98%. So I'd say the best news you have for this is the 5 stages of main, right? Super aggressive, less aggressive. It's now going sideways, right? So the chart is now going sideways. 3-day, still iffy, still kind of in a downtrend, but maybe, right? Like maybe that's a good level right there. And if this is able to put in bullish structure, so like a higher high, right? If this is able to put in a higher high, maybe this is going to start trending up. But for now, it's going sideways. It's down massively off the high. So the two positives, it's down 98% off its high, and it's not selling off as aggressively anymore. The negatives are the high time frame looks like shit, and the entire market, multiple coins have had massive rallies over the past few months, and this thing, you know, hasn't really participated. I guess you could argue if you bought it here, that's a 50, 80% move. But I think there's just better, more interesting coins to look at. So that's what I'd be looking at. If it breaks out of this, we'll see. Am I looking at the wrong R? No, it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Someone said gold, and I can't leave out gold. I don't really have an opinion on gold, right? Like, I kind of mentioned we have a market structure break there, lower high. This is just from last stream. Broke the daily, rolled off. If it's able to get above here, it should rally. Otherwise, I'm pretty bullish on the dollar. So I think we could see gold sub 4,000. Yeah, so CRV, like I know this is one that like Credible Crypto loves. The reason to look at something like CRV, even though it too, like, well, why is CRV worth looking at, but Arweave isn't? Well, if I'm not mistaken, right, even though this is also down 98%, again, if you're going to look at an altcoin, one that's down 98, 99%, it's a better time objectively to start looking. But overall, right, at least they make money, right? At least CRV, right, makes money. So like if you pull up DeFi Llama, Curve Finance is on pace to do $18 million in revenue this year. So does that mean it should have a market cap of 300 million? Probably not. I mean, God, if that's how much revenue you need to justify that kind of market cap, I should have launched a breakout token. But at least it makes money, right? Like at least it makes money. At least there's something there, something tangible, and it exists. Whereas like Arweave, let's see. Arweave has made am I right? Arweave has made $330 in the last 24 hours. $330 in the last 24 hours. Okay. So if you're going to buy a coin, even though they both look like shit, that's what's so funny is Curve is going to make 20 mil this year. Arweave made $300 in the last day. Both of the tokens are down 98%. Welcome to crypto. Unbelievable. Okay. I need to move on because we're already an hour and a half in and I've done only charts. And I got bills to pay, boys. So with that being said, I highly suggest you go check out my show on Twitter. We're over 4,000 followers, 4,100. I'm very stoked about that. We're slowly growing. Okay. Very excited with the growth we're seeing. And on Instagram, we're creeping up as well. Almost 700 on Insta. You could be the 700th follower on the Order Book Show. Go follow right now. Again, 22K views here, 130K. This is our most viewed and most liked clip. So I'm loving the growth that we're seeing here in some of the short form. So if you want to support your boy, you know how to do it. Order Book Show on both Twitter and Instagram. We only started this show 5 months ago. And I'm really happy with the growth that we're seeing so far. I'm super excited. So going to keep on that. And I'm also going to keep on with the market structure videos, or excuse me, with the whiteboard videos. We have a new video coming out every single week. We had our most recent one go out just yesterday, explaining a 5-minute entry model. So a way that you can use the 5-minute chart to actually get into trades. You still got to do your top-down analysis before you get onto the low time frame, of course. But yeah, this is going super well. I'm really happy with the results on this so far. It's been awesome. And if you want to support your boy, oh, did someone just follow us on Instagram? Let's go. It's 700 now. If you want to support your boy, go check out those pages. Make sure you're following on YouTube, sharing, commenting. It really helps me out. The other way to support your boy is to use the link in the description of this video and check out Kraken's latest promo that they're doing. The last promo that we were talking about, the CLI promo, someone from this stream won the prize, which is super cool. So very stoked about that. Right now, they're doing a promotion with 3 commas. So you can get up to, I believe, a $200 welcome bonus if you hit cumulatively 50K in volume using the 3 commas API connection. So basically you can trade Kraken futures automated through 3 commas. You can run a DCA bot, grid bots, backtest your strategy, and then you get paid real cash for running volume through there. So it's pretty cool. The longer you stay, the more you get paid. You get a 20% fee kickback after month 2. And if you hit 50K cumulative volume, those rebates will continue to run through to month 3. Again, consistent trading is what's going to pay here. No guaranteed returns. This is just a tool that will allow you to automate your trading and you get paid for doing volume. So pretty fucking cool stuff. The campaign's now live. It's live for another 6 days. July 14th is when it's over. Availability varies by region. Connect 3 commas to Kraken. Place your first futures trade and the campaign is active. Check out kraken.com/pro/3 commas to join. All right, guys, how much for a one-on-one session? Dude, honestly, I don't know. I did a one-on-one session. This is years ago. There's a guy who had made a bunch of money on like a random altcoin, like millions of dollars, and he was just slowly pissing it away. So he had made like millions. He had made millions. I can't remember the name of the altcoin or his name, unfortunately. I wonder where he's at. But he had made millions on an altcoin. And what happened is he confused being a bull in a bull run with actually having the ability to trade. So he made all this money on this altcoin, and he did something that most people don't do. He actually took profit. So all of a sudden he had all this money, millions of dollars, and he paid me for some one-on-one sessions because he was just slowly pissing away his money trying to trade, because he figured, oh, well, I made all this money on an altcoin. I must know how to trade. And he realized very quickly that leverage is extremely dangerous. And he, in fact, did not know how to trade. This is a long time ago. I want to say this is like 2020, 2019. Yeah, it was before the 2021 run. I think it might have been 2019. So I had my free Discord where I was teaching people ICT, smart money concepts, price action stuff. And I did a handful of one-on-one calls with the guy. And I want to say, I think I charged him like $1,000 for the hour. I don't even know where I came up with the number. That might be wrong. It might have been $500, to be honest with you. It might have been $500. It's like 500 to 1,000. And we did a few of them. And he just wasn't listening. So like he would watch the video, like we would do the video, I'd answer all his questions, we'd look at his trades, look at the charts together, and then I would be like, hey, here's where I think you're going wrong. You should check this, this, and this out. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, so he's just paying me to give my opinion, right? But he wouldn't listen. Like I'd be like, hey, dude, every time you do this, this happens. Stop doing that. But he just kept making the same mistakes. And at some point, you can only help someone so much, right? And he would get angry. And I'm like, dude, like we talked about this. You're trading, you're using too much leverage. You're not using a stop loss. Your position size is way too big. So he'd get in a trade, it would go against him, and he would close it because he's down a bunch of money. And then it would end up working out, and then he'd be angry, right? So he'd FOMO back in and ape back in and market buy, and then like just getting smoked. He's just churning himself to death. And after a while, I was like, dude, like, you're wasting your money giving it to me if you're not going to listen to anything that I'm saying, right? Like if you're just going to continue to do the same things over and over and over again, I can't help you. And it just was not a great experience. One, an hour to spend with someone one-on-one, especially at where I'm at in my career now, like it would have to be a retarded amount of money, straight up. It would have to be a big fucking amount of money. For me to be interested in talking to someone one-on-one for an hour, like an hour out of my day. Hour out of my day is very valuable. I can spend that time with my wife. I can spend that time taking my dog on a crazy hike, working on my business, whatever else I'm doing. So it would have to be a lot of money, I think, for me to be interested. And I would have to vet. I would have to vet someone pretty hard before, because I'd want to make sure I'm not wasting my time and also that I can actually help them. Because if I'm going to charge someone for an hour of my time and they're going to pay and it's a big amount of money, I want to make sure they get value. I want them to get more value than what they paid. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Pay Dag from Norway. Dude, how hyped are we on Norway and Erling Haaland? What an absolute giga chad, dude. He looks like Boo from fucking Dragon Ball Z. Not Fat Boo. Like when Boo comes back and he's fucking yoked. That's what Haaland looks like, bro. He's just fucking, what a legend. So, Light crypto was correct in that strategy was selling, right? So Mike Alfred turns out retarded, and Saylor sold. So they sold a pretty sizable amount, right? 358, 3,588 Bitcoin for $200 million. I kind of talked about this in the last video. Like, I want to, I wanted him to act decisively. I'm like, dude, rip the fucking Band-Aid off and just like sell a bunch of Bitcoin, maybe create our bottom. And then, the overhang's gone and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that this is enough Bitcoin, right? Like it's a huge amount and it funds the dividends for a little bit, but I want to say the yearly obligation's over $1 billion, right? So they've got, 2 years worth of that. They still have 840,000 Bitcoin. Like if Saylor selling is going to create the bottom, I think it's on a lower move, right? And then it's a significant amount of Bitcoin that he sells. Like I'm talking like 50,000 Bitcoin, like a big fucking number that creates our bottom. Like this, I'm not saying this is a small amount of Bitcoin, but relative to the stack, it's kind of like, I don't know if I would say it's substantial, but I think at least this is maybe a step in the right direction of acting a little bit more decisively. I don't really know though. I think that this will continue. And I mean, really what he's shown here, because now they're a hedge fund basically, is that they're buying the top and they're selling the bottom, right? So like he bought Bitcoin all the way up here and all the way down here. And now that we're 50% off of all-time high, he's selling. Like I'm pretty sure he bought here, and I think he even bought Bitcoin here. And now he's selling like slightly down. Or he might have bought like here. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't really understand what he's doing. For 3 months, we increased our Bitcoin holdings 10%, and we increased our USD reserves 13%, and we more than doubled the year-to-date BTC yield from 3.7 to 7.8. Like, is the product working as it's supposed to? I don't know. I mean, it's just a bunch of MicroStrategy badge people fucking, and he's just retweeting. He's in an echo chamber, right? I don't think Saylor has anyone talking to him being like, hey, dude, like, we got to do some shit here. But, you know, they sold. These were the Q2 quarterly dividends on this, and they're full monthly dividends for June. So he's selling the Bitcoin to pay the dividends. I mean, is that the model working how it's supposed to? I guess. Right? Like, I guess. But it's also kind of like, you know, you're buying the top and then selling the bottom. Like, this whole thing would be working so much better if he didn't fucking buy so poorly. Yeah, I just don't know, dude. I don't know. I think Strive buying Bitcoin. Yeah, so here you go. They acquired 500 Bitcoin on June 22nd, dude. So he literally bought, like right here, 500 Bitcoin. And then here, he sold 3,500 Bitcoin. I don't know, bro. I don't know. But he sold 3,500 Bitcoin and we didn't nuke. That's probably the best news available, I think. And like I said in one of my tweets, like the more he sells, the less overhang we have from Saylor, I think the better. Elio Trades kind of agrees. He's got to sell enough that the market, that he doesn't need cash for 4 years. MicroStrategy zero till that happens. And then BTC will have a liquidation cascade for the ages. And then we long for our bloodline. So no bottom until he sells a few billion. This is kind of what I'm saying, right? Selling 3,500 is de minimis. I want him to sell like 100,000 Bitcoin, 50,000 Bitcoin, a significant amount of Bitcoin. What would be a billion? Like 20,000, whatever the number is, 20, 25,000 Bitcoin. Sell a couple B to Vlad's point, create the bottom, and maybe that happens in Q4. And until then, he just continues this pussyfooting. He's tax loss harvesting, maybe. So what price is Bitcoin going to hit in July on Polymarket? Again, you can trade the chart. You can also trade the event on Polymarket. You can also trade the Polymarket itself. I think in July, we're only at the 8th so far. I like some of these lower numbers, but it seems like the market is agreeing with me. Like more people are putting money on 55, 57, 60, 65. I mean, we're there. And then they are on upside. Like not a lot of people think 70. 72.5, 75. Like I kind of like this bracket. We talked about this in the last video, I think. Like I kind of like this bracket if we're going to get a lower high. Like if we're going to get a lower high relative to this price leg, that lower high being between 70 and 75 is kind of exactly where you'd want it to form. It's like right in the OTE. Like if I change this and I add on this, and this, oops, let me just invert that. Like Look at the OTE, dude. 673 to 77. That's kind of your OTE price band right there. 77 is a stretch, but 75 is possible, dude. And like that's a 1 to 21 return here. Like that is 75 is possible. How likely it is, I have no idea. We barely made it above the mid-range last time. I don't know if 75, 70, still a 1 to 5, dude. Pretty good. So I don't know what you guys think, but overall, I think something like this is what happens, or it's this, right? Like it could be like this move up here where it doesn't even get that high. You don't know, but I think eventually this is a lower high before new lows. So here's Trump again.
Ceasefire over. Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Woodcock, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo.
I mean, I'm so tired of this news cycle. I'm so tired of the ceasefire, Iran, Strait of Hormuz news cycle. I'm exhausted. I feel like all of this kicked off like right when we started the show, and it's all we've talked about every fucking episode. But like, it is what's going on. But God, he's so funny the way he talks. It's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting question. Like he's just such a character, man. But I don't know, dude. Does it matter? The market doesn't even seem to care anymore. Like the ceasefire being, remember, this, I believe, was the war. Like, this was the tariff tantrum, right? This is, I believe, or is this the tariff tantrum? No, this is the tariff. I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, this is the tariff low, I want to say, and this is like the initial war is over low. Like the market, the ceasefire being off, I think a few months ago would have nuked the market like the day that happened. It seems to like not care as much, at least in the short term. Now, if the war continues on, I think that's generally bad for the market. Overall, just as a comment. But in terms of like the immediate news headline level reaction, I think the market has absorbed that a little bit and just doesn't care as much. But man, is he funny the way he talks. It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. So yeah, it is an interesting question, isn't it? I got to like practice my cadence to be more Trumpy. I don't know. Like I need some, like maybe not more Trumpy, but I need like some cool verbal cues and idiosyncrasies that I use in my speech that make me a more effective public speaker and just more interesting to listen to. The U.S. stock market futures fall sharply after he says the ceasefire with Iran is over. I mean, 1%, 1.5%, 1.3%, but they basically erased this. Like crude's up. We saw that. The memorandum of understanding is over. There was an understanding. We made a deal. Then they said that there was no deal. They're cuckoo. They're scum. Yeah, I don't fucking know, dude. But like, again, yes, it fell 1%, but we're just kind of hovering here, dude. We're hovering here. So we're at resistance. I don't think it changes anything here setup wise. So will the U.S. invade Iran before 2027? if the U.S. commences a military offensive intended to establish control over any portion of Iran by the end of the year. I mean, pretty crazy that this is even like, and I feel like invading Iran is a bad idea. I feel like the war with Iran in general was a very bad idea, and I just don't know how this gets better. Like, you had the deal's now off. Trump seems like he doesn't want to talk to him anymore, but that it's very Trump-like to be like, we're done. I'm not going to deal with them anymore, and then, you know, come out and be like, oh, actually, there's peace in the Middle East. Who the fuck knows? But $1,000 pays $6,000 if they like evade. Like, I think I have a bet on Taiwan, like similar bet. Will the U.S. invade Taiwan, or will China invade Taiwan? If the U.S. invades Iran, fucking China takes Taiwan. No, like, does that not seem like something that would almost certainly happen? Now, you might be noticing here that my portfolio took a little bit of a splash. Your boy was pretty hammered when he live bet on the Colombia game. Like, we're in Vancouver. It's a sea of Colombians. There's like one section going for Switzerland. So naturally, I'm like, told my boy, I was like, we're cheering for Colombia. And I ripped a bet live on Polymarket. I was kind of like waiting for the odds to get better. I was like, oh, okay, maybe Switzerland will score. But Colombia was kind of just, I think, dominating. They were controlling, I think, more of the possession time than Switzerland. So I just ripped the bet like 2,500 and yeah, lost in shootout. Very disappointing. Someone spent $4.4 million to steal $21 million from the Bonk treasury, making a profit of $16 million. So on June 30th, the attacker submitted a government's proposal to transfer 4 trillion Bonk from the treasury wallet to a wallet that he controlled. Over the past 2 days, he bought $4 million worth of Bonk on Bybit and Binance to exceed the amount of Bonk required to make the proposal. He then voted yes with all of his Bonk. The proposal passed, and the 21 million was automatically transferred to his wallet. So far, 40 billion Bonk has been deposited to OKX, while the remaining, 4 trillion is held in this wallet. Now, I think this is fair play. Like, I think that the word steal here is wrong, because this is how DAOs work, right? So he didn't do anything illegal. Now, what he did shady, and was it manipulative? Yeah, but he found a loophole and took advantage of it. So to say that he stealed it, and then the Bonk DAO people being like, we've got the authorities looking into this, it's like, dude, this vote, if my understanding is the vote was up for 7 days. He played by the rules. People could have voted no. Vote with your money. That's what he did. So he found a legal loophole, and basically nobody voted against it. And I don't know, man. I think 7 days. 7 days, and it passed. So there was 7 days where the Bonk team could have done something. It wasn't a hack. It was passed because no Bonk holders checked the governance form. So, this is the state of DAOs. Implement swollen governments, install a new member and council, rebuild from the ashes, monetize holdings, stop deleting all yes voters are eligible to receive tokens, add metadata, and send Bonk here. So literally 99.9% of the vote was yes, and that was all him, $4 billion, and barely anyone voted no. So it passed, and it was 7 days, dude. So again, I don't think this is stealing. Like, yes, it's malicious. Yes, they took advantage, but only 7 wallets participated out of 18,000. So I don't know, man. Egg on your face. Figure it out. Loma summarizing it well here. Another protocol conveniently hacked under a legal pretense to ensure that all the money remains in the hands of the hacker. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Pretty funny stuff. So SpaceX has been added to the Nasdaq. Fastest company ever to be added to the Nasdaq. I don't want to see that. What the fuck, dude? Just give me the fucking... Sometimes this shit pisses me off. All right, so SpaceX added to the NASDAQ, the fastest inclusion into the NASDAQ 100 index in history, right? And we're basically trading right back at kind of the IPO price. It was IPO'd at 135. We're at 150. You know, I think this probably traded very much similar to how people were expecting, or at least what we were expecting, right? Like this pump probably gets retraced. It's still just too early to do TA on this thing. You could argue like, okay, maybe there's an SFP here, right? On the weekly 12-hour SFP, but it's just too early. It's too early. If we reclaim these lows, right? If we get above this, maybe there's a long here, but I still think it's too early. I think you just let this thing percolate, let it cook, let the structure build, let the chart build out before you worry about trading this too much, in my opinion. But yeah, fastest inclusion in the NASDAQ 100 in history. I'm bullish Elon, man. I don't know. A lot of people hate on Elon. A lot of people want Elon to fail. A lot of fucking, in my opinion, retarded people don't even think Elon's smart. Like you got Sneeko being like, everyone thinks the guy who builds rockets and sends them to space is smart. It's like, yeah. You mean the guy who's building rockets and sending them into space? Like, it's just like funny. Hassan, same thing. Elon has just failed upward in life. It's like, Hassan, arguably, you have failed upward in life. You're not a very smart person, but you've played into a very niche political ideology, right? Niche isn't even the right word, but you've made a community representing a very far left-leaning political ideology. As an American, as a straight white male, you know, being like, hey, I'm for every crazy far left policy. You came from a rich family, right? You came from a rich family, and to be like, well, Elon's failed upward. Like, how do you fail upward to being the richest person in the world? How does that even make sense? So again, I'm bullish Elon. I like Elon. I'm holding my SpaceX. Not that I could sell it anyways, but I'm bullish Elon. So Vlad, this is Robinhood, Cashcat, said, we're building Robinhood Chain to be the best chain for real world assets. So he's been pretty bullish on saying, you know, or his view is that real world assets are the future for crypto, but he says it's going to work great for memes too. You know, is this not what base was trying to do? I don't know. Like the bar's pretty low with this shit, I feel like. Like, is this going to be better than Sol? But I am old enough to remember when Robinhood, if I'm not mistaken, delisted Sol. Yeah, here you go. Oh no, this is not what he's saying. Delisted Solana. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'm right. They delisted Solana at the bottom. So if you held Sol on Robinhood at the bottom, I think it was at like $15 to $20, they forced you to sell. They forced you to sell. Pretty crazy. So for him to come back and be like, hey, we're launching our own chain to compete with Solana, and it's going to be great for memes. You know, Ansem's calling this Corpo chain, right? To me, this is like Coinbase-esque, maybe. Maybe it's a little different, but I just see that this kind of meeting in the middle is happening between Web 2 and Web 3. You have companies like Kraken, right? Coinbase, Hyperliquid, you know, all these Web 3 businesses going this way towards Web 2, offering more Web 2 stuff. And I'm not saying Web 2, legit Web 2 necessarily, but like Kraken is effectively, you know, going to become a bank. It's becoming a bank. You know, all the things you can do on Kraken, all the things you can do at a bank, right? A lot of crypto stuff is heading that direction. Having stocks being traded on chain, right? Like that's this direction. This direction is companies like Robinhood, these Web 2 companies coming and being like, hey, we're going to get more crypto. We're going to add crypto pairs. We're going to let you trade, crypto on our platform. We're going to let you trade stocks on chain on our platform. We're going to create our own chain. We're going to put memes on there, real world assets. So seems like everything is meeting in the middle of everything going on chain. So that's cool. That's super cool. Very interested to see what happens with Robinhood here. Obviously, Robinhood, huge platform, probably the most retail, normie centric stock trading app because they have a really good mobile app. Like a lot of people use it to trade stocks, trade options. So having their own chain, giving these people access to crypto, I think that's a good thing on the whole for crypto in terms of bringing liquidity from TradFi markets into crypto. They can do it directly on Robinhood. But, is this going to work out well for them with their own chain? I don't actually know, but it says it works great for memes, leading to 360 million in Memecoin DEX volume, 92,000 traders, and 1.5 million trades in a single week. And some sold meme coins dipped. I just don't think that there's that much meme coin liquidity right now. It's kind of like centralized between Ansem and whatever else. So, we're not in that moment in the market where everything's going, or at least there's the benefit of a wider market pump. But what's going up over on Kick, guys? Thanks for the fucking, for the raid, Moose. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, I don't know, man. We're going to see. I just don't think that the bottom's in yet. And I'll be very interested to see what happens with all of this stuff 6-12 months from now. If you remember this last cycle, like a lot of these memes kind of ran independently. Like, WIF had its time in the sun, then it was the AI coins, then it was Fart Coin. It wasn't like cycles prior where all of the altcoins were running in kind of a more true alt season like fashion. We didn't really get that alt season that everyone was wanting or hoping for. So a bunch of insiders, right? We talked about this earlier, potential insiders buying Cashcat right before the post. Lo and behold, our good friend Ponzi trader aping a mortgage into Cashcat. Robinhood CEO and head of product just followed Cashcat. Do you understand that Robinhood started this whole GME culture, the whole retail culture? This is all Robinhood's doing. This is a very serious chance me and you wouldn't be speaking right now if it wasn't for Robinhood. Nobody can bridge over, which means up only. Some early buyers up tons. Let them get out. Robinhood will soon let people buy in-app. Retail culture wins with stuff like this. Holy fuck. So, yeah, I mean, hyped as fuck. You can't bridge? Is that what I'm understanding? You literally can't bridge to Robinhood? Interesting. You can't bridge in or out or both. The bridge is closed. The bridge is falling down. Very interesting. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens here, guys. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm not a meme coin guy. I know a lot of attention is on Ansem and his meme coin stuff, and people are like, "Man, what do you think about this?" I don't think I'm the person to ask. If you want a person to tell you really good takes about drawing boxes and lines on charts, I'm your guy. If you're a guy who wants to give you topical, funny opinions on news, I might be your guy. But if you're asking for a very well thought out take on meme coins, I'm not the guy. I'm just not the guy. But I'll be watching, and I'm cheering for all of you. I want all of you to win. I hope all of you get super rich and make a ton of money on meme coins. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But I hope that it does for you specifically. You specifically watching this video. I hope everybody else loses money and gets annihilated. And the people on the other side of that trade is you guys in this stream. That's what I hope for. So this is one of my, let me just start by saying Threadguy is my guy. This is one of my good friends. I love Threadguy. I am like Unk to Threadguy and some of these other guys, these young guys, because I'm old and they're literal children. My birthday is this Saturday. I'm turning 48. Okay. I think Threadguy is 24. I'm literally twice his age. I could, and I might be his father. So I don't know, Threadguy. Ask your mom where she was 24 years ago. Who knows? I might be his dad. Probably not, though. I mean, I used to have this hair. Straight up, I used to have this hair, I swear to God, back when I was a young man. Anyways, he's just kind of like experiencing life, and it's kind of just like so pure and joyful. So there's 10,000 people in the Hamptons for 4th of July. They all have a table at Surf Lodge. They're all wearing a 50K watch. No one seems to work. They hang out with the same group of 20 girls, and there's just way too much money in the system. It's obviously at fringe. It's obvious at fringe vacation spots during holidays. So I agree with everything until this last, until kind of his justification here. There is too much money in the system. Like, I do believe that we are due for a wash. I've been saying this for a while. And I think, yeah, a lot of people are up a ton and have no idea what they're doing. But at like Hamptons 4th of July is like peak money place to go celebrate. Like, if you're rich and you live on the East Coast of America, right? You go to Hamptons or you go to Europe in the summer. If you're rich and on the East Coast of Canada, right? If you're in Toronto, you go to Muskoka, right? In the winter, you go to the Alps if you're rich and you're in Europe, or even if you're rich and you're in America, or you go to Aspen. Like, so I agree there's a lot of money in the system, but like the Hamptons is not a fringe vacation spot during the holidays. Like, that is the place some of the richest people on the planet go to celebrate 4th of July. So you're seeing the 1% of the 1% all concentrated in a very small, part of town. It's like, if you go to Aspen, there's not a lot of ski bums in Aspen relative to other mountains, because Aspen is very bougie, very expensive. If you're going to the Swiss Alps, the French Alps, the Italian Alps, during peak ski season, and you're partying at like the sick, crazy parties they have there at the Après, and you're like, wait, everyone's rich. It's like, well, yeah, this is a destination. It's hard to get to the Hamptons for 4th of July. It's expensive. So I just like that. That's where I don't think it's a justification for there being too much money in the system. There is too much money in the system, sure. But like going to the Hamptons and being surprised you see rich people is like going to the aquarium and being surprised you saw fish. I wouldn't expect there to be poor people at the Hamptons for 4th of July. I wouldn't expect there to like going to the Amalfi Coast and being like, oh my God, look at all these fucking yachts here. Everyone's got a yacht and they're all so rich and they have these crazy yachts. It's like, well, this is where rich people vacation in the summer. South of France, the Amalfi Coast. It's like going to Monaco for F1. Like, you could have this exact same tweet, but replace Hamptons and 4th of July with Monaco F1. It's the same thing. Everyone's rich. They got crazy watches on. The same 20 girls on different boats. Like, it's like, this is one of the most kind of sought after places for high net worth people to go flex. And at the end of the day, rich people want to party around other rich people so they can wear their expensive watch and not have to worry about it getting stolen or whatever. You know what I mean? They're not going to the college bar, and they're not lighting fireworks in the fucking street and blowing their fingers off, But I love Threadguy because he's young and he's just out there learning shit, making fucking money, and figuring shit out. And I'm stoked. I'm stoked to see his character development continue. Like, I really like this article or this, long post that he made. But again, I think that the idea of going to look at what the Hamptons looks like. Of course, it's rich people, bro. So it's like where New York's elite would go to vacation. When they want to see some nature, rich people in New York go to the Hamptons, right? But I think what he's realizing, which is the most important piece of this, is not that, like, I like the take of like, I went to the Hamptons and everyone's rich and everyone seems to have money and a crazy watch and no job. I think, again, fish at the aquarium. We're not surprised. It's the Hamptons on 4th of July. But I think what's interesting about this, and hopefully he's starting to make this connection, right, is that there is not always a direct correlation between something costing a lot of money and being more fun, better, more enjoyable. So as you start to make money, you will start to learn that there are certain things that are worth spending more money on, that are legitimately better if you spend more money. And there's other things where there's diminishing returns, if any. So just because there's a table, you know, like me personally, like if I'm going to party, I'm fucking old. I want to have a table because I want to sit down because I'm old, right? But like a table at Surf Lodge 4th of July weekend is probably not worth the $30,000, $40,000 it's going to cost you. Probably not worth that, but it's the time and the place, and you want to do it, you want to do it. And yeah, you can't skip the line. Everybody's got money. It's like going out in Miami. It's like most people got money, right? But as you make more money, and I think the most important thing to learn is there's absolutely things that are worth spending the money on, and there's tons of things that aren't worth it. Okay? So, and a lot of that is going to be personal opinion. For me, long haul flights, minimum business class, totally worth it if you can afford it. Being able to have a lie down seat, sleep good on the plane, it arguably saves you a day on the way there because you can sleep on the plane, try and beat the jet lag, saves you on the way back as well, right? That's worth it to me. The comfort, the experience is just better. A really good bed and bedding, worth it, in my opinion. A really nice office chair. Like those types of things are worth it. A nice car that makes you feel good, right? Worth it. A nice watch, again, that can make you feel good, make you make connections. Those things are worth it. I'm never going to spend money. I don't really spend a ton of money on clothes. I have some nice clothes. I have some designer stuff. But like my black t-shirts I usually wear, I get them from like Banana Republic. You know? So everyone's going to have different things where they want to spend money and there's going to be diminishing returns. But what he's experiencing, right, is like, man, was it really worth probably the $100K that he spent between the Airbnb, the drinks, the transport, the tables, the bottle service? Was it worth it for 4th of July Hamptons? I don't know. Right. But there's not necessarily a direct correlation between something costing more money and being necessarily more fun. This has been super fucking funny. People have basically been like modernizing George Costanza and other Seinfeld characters with more modern cuts. So you got the classic Costanza cul-de-sac, long on the sides. It's like, dude, if he just shaved it and grew a beard, like just way more handsome. Like he looks way better. Like this is killing me, bro. And everyone's like, shave heads have peaked. Embrace your Norwood. I mean, first of all, like he's still got a lot of hair here, bro. These guys are at different levels on the Norwood scale. I would fucking know. But the shaved head and beard looks amazing on George. And like someone like, I mean, this stuff is frying me, dude. He looks like a Chad. Like he goes from looking like a literal potential pedophile to a Chad, dude. It's so fucking funny. It's so good. The Summer of George. And then someone used AI to make Seinfeld with peptides. So George is, jacked and handsome, shaved head and beard, and he just looks incredible. I don't know, man. It's pretty fucking funny. So this stuff's been making me laugh all day. Check it out. And I've thought this for a long time, bro. Like, if Trump shaved his head and grew out a beard, I think he would look like menacing as fuck. Like, grow out the beard, shave the head, bro. Like, doesn't that look way more menacing than the orange flop top that he has there? I don't know, man. We've gone on too long, guys. We've gone on too long. I got to end the stream here. It's been 2.5 hours. I'm fucking tired. And I've got some other shit I got to do. I got to go record fucking TikToks and Instagram reels so Cody can post them on my Instagram. It's tough out here, man. It's tough trying to get popular on these other social media sites, but I'm doing it for y'all. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Go watch that last whiteboard video. It just got posted yesterday. tradermain.com for the free Discord, the free newsletter, all of that fun stuff. Use code MAIN at checkout at Breakout for a discount. I love you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming again tomorrow. I have a guest coming on, Elio Trades. We're going to shoot the shit.